Okay, Kenny the teacher. Kenny's first job out of college is teaching high school algebra. It's a normal day in school, and Kenny needs to break the class up into pairs for a project. Sounds easy though, but Kenny wants to match the students who are struggling with those who understand the material. Kenny looks at the problem and thinks to himself, you know what? I'll use an algorithm to pair up these students. Kenny quickly writes up his class roster using the Python programming language and writes a program that pairs the highest scoring student with the lowest scoring student, the second highest scoring student with the second lowest scoring student, and so on. What does that mean? An algorithm is a step by step solution to a general type of problem. To solve the student pairing problem, Kenny needs to write a sorting algorithm. So, instructions number one. In the editor, you'll find the code of Kenny's algorithm, as well as a list of all the students in his class. Copy paste the code below into the bottom of the script.py and click run to see how his class is sorted into pairs by the algorithm. Okay, so this is the order of the class or the list of arrays. Right, so what are algorithms? Okay, so this is Kenny's algorithm. Get list of unpaired students, create empty list of paired students until the list of unpaired students is empty. Repeat the following steps. Determine the student with the highest grade in the unpaired list. Determine the student with the lowest grade in the unpaired list. Pair those students and add that list to the list of paired students. Remove those students from the list of unpaired students. Right, control flow and logic. Although it was interesting and fun, Kenny didn't feel that the farm life was quite right for him. But his time on the farm made him interested in food and food safety, so Kenny became a health inspector. In his job as a health inspector, he had to give the restaurants he inspected a grade. In order to grade them fairly, Kenny knew he had to develop a system to decide their score based on a set of conditions of the restaurant. Kenny would check each area in the restaurant in sequence. First the dining room, then the bar, then the service stations, and finally the kitchen. If he found any pest dirt or something unsanitary at any of those locations, he would subtract a letter from the overall grade of the restaurant. The restaurants always started with an A, but by the end of an inspection, sometimes they ended up having an F, and no one wants to eat at a restaurant with the F health grade. Kenny knew that what he had developed was a control flow. He had a set he had a set sequence he followed, and throughout that sequence, based on some conditionals, he would lower the health grade of the establishment. This is a way of thinking that he learned when developing software. Kenny had turned his job as a health inspector into a sequence of if-then statements within a control flow. This allowed him to grade each restaurant fairly and consistently. Instructions: in the code editor, you'll find a short text-based adventure game where you can play a health inspector, Kenny, and give your daily quota of restaurants their health grades. Click Run, then copy and paste Python Kenny that healthinspector.py into the terminal of the far right titled Bash and hit Run, or Enter on your keyboard. Games like this, and in fact most functions and programs, rely heavily on control flow to guide the user through the application. Take a look at the code for the game itself and see if you can see the examples of control flow logic. Anywhere you see if statements or comparative operators like equal, greater than, and smaller than, there's logic at work.